Let's talk about putting a big rig out in the woods, boondocking. How do you do it? Where do you find the spots? All that stuff. Stick around. Look at this. Middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. Got the coconut down there, and we are just boondocking. And actually, we've got pretty good data here as well. Now, how do you find a spot? Oh, it's getting windy. Now, some of you might wonder, how do you find a spot like this? This is not on any of the websites. It's not on iOverlander. It's not on freecampsites.net. It's not on Campendium, anything like that. And I'm finding more and more the spots I want to go to are not on those. But I'm getting better and better at finding them. And I want to show you how I do that. And also specifically for a big rig like this, because it's maybe a little bit different, you know. Those little tiny pull-offs aren't going to work for us. So you always got to think about not only how you get in, but how you get out. And I'm going to show you some of the techniques that I use. Right here, we'll do it outside. Why not? So let's quickly talk about how a lot of people try and find boondocking spots, and that's with Google Maps. And it's a great way to do it. However, one of the things I have found is it's hard to tell if the land you're on is actually public land, and if what you're seeing is accurate, because sometimes the satellite imagery is old. So let's switch over in the Google Maps here to satellite, and kind of near where I am. I'm in the National Forest here in Wisconsin, and yeah, it says, well, actually in Google Maps here, it's actually hard to tell exactly where the borders are, and I'll show you what I like to use instead. And I guess my data isn't the best at the moment, but here I'm just going to show you pretty much exactly where I'm at, so you can come and find this spot if you want. And how I found this was basically just going through forest roads, and I would just follow them. And let's say, okay, I can come down this highway. I can follow along here. That looks good. And I just look for something like this, a clearing. And hopefully there, the image cleared up. And I'm like, okay, not only can I get the bus in here, I can also turn around, which is really important. But I also think about my options. What if I can't turn around there? What if something's different? And so I'll zoom then back out and be like, okay, can I, you know, what are my options? Where does this road lead? And, you know, worst case scenario, I can turn around here at this T intersection, or let's wait for that to load up, or I can make a turn and, you know, get back to civilization that way. But like I said, the data isn't always super accurate or up to date. So what you might see here at the bottom of my screen here, maybe it says imagery 2022 Maxar Technologies. I don't even know exactly what that means. But let's switch over here to Google Earth, which is actually one of my favorite ways to find boondocking spots. And you can see right away, actually the campgrounds will actually show up. The National Forest campgrounds will automatically show up on here, but you already have the boundaries for the National Forest already laid out there. So let's jump in here, and we're going to see some data here. And what you see right away, this is the spot where we're at, and what you see right away is, look at this date up here in the upper left of my screen. May of 2014, that's the data, or that's the imaging data. And we can go back to different points in time. And this is the other thing I like to do, is I can look at different seasons. What does it look in the winter, the fall? You can bounce around to different versions, and really you can see how logging's been done over the years and that sort of stuff. And that looks like a 2005 is a real low resolution, or it may take time to clear up. It's not always the best. You can go all the way back, usually to the 90s. What is it, 1985? Wow, Did they even have color photos back then? I was born in '82, by the way. They had color photography back then. So, anyway, what Google Earth does is it tells you the actual date that the satellite imagery is from. And what I've actually found is I like to look at a couple of different sources. So Google Earth is one of them, but then let's also check out Apple Maps. Now I'm on a Mac computer, so that's easily accessible. You can do this on your phone as well. And you get a much different picture here. And I suspect this data is newer. It looks much closer to what I actually am seeing on the ground here. Everything's much more overgrown. Let's compare. Now this of course is in the spring, so not everything's grown in, but to me it's feeling this is much more accurate representation of what's here. So the other one I like to take a look at is, let's jump over to Bing. Yes, Bing Maps. And I believe Bing and Apple, or Microsoft Bing and Apple, are using the same mapping source. They look to be the same. But that's another option for you, is if you don't have an Apple a device, is you could use Bing. It looks like they're using some of the same imaging data. And so that's what I like to try and do, is first kind of scout out some potentials, and then once I find something that I'm like, this might work, then I'll jump in with all these different sources and see if I can find something that's going to work. Now the last thing is, I got my phone here. I use this app called OnX Hunt, and I'm just using a trial currently. And what you can see here is that's where I'm at, and it will actually tell you who owns the land, which Google Earth does not tell you. And so you can see, okay, somebody owns that land right there, so we don't want to go in there. But this here, this is public land here. Pretty much if you can hunt on it, you can camp on it. Fact check me down below, of course. So I found this app to be super good, because there's, as you can see, this is all national forest land, but there is private land all along here, and you can see exactly who owns it. Not that you want to be a creep, but just you don't want to be camping on somebody's private land. And this is a great way to stay out of trouble. So there you have it. That's how you find the spots. But then again, I know what you're thinking. You expect me to take our pride and joy, our RV, down these tiny little roads here? Yeah, I do. And I'll tell you why. These roads, originally they are made for logging, and those trucks are 80,000 pounds. All the culverts, all the bridges, they're all made to handle much more than this weight. You don't really need to worry about it. Now, definitely use caution, drive slow. You never know what you're going to meet. There are people cruising around on four-wheelers, side-by-sides, that sort of stuff, or who knows, there might even be a logging truck that comes around. So definitely be cautious. The other thing I want to mention is scout. You probably saw I had an e-bike on the back of the RV, and I will scout it on the e-bike. That really extends your range. Or go for a walk. Or if you got a tow vehicle, go scout with a tow vehicle. You can find all kinds of places that won't even show up on a satellite map. That's the other thing I wanted to mention. There are tons of things like this that are under tree cover, and you'll never see them. But locals know about them. So yeah, you can find all that kinds of stuff. So I want to hear from you. What are some good ways that you found to find boondocking spots? Or share what's the craziest spot you've been to that you didn't think you'd be able to. Or yeah, I don't know. Or put whatever you want down there. What's your favorite color? All right, catch you guys next time. Bye.